Welcome everyone to the 32nd video here in this 84-part series. This is video number 2 of me explaining some very basic history of myself, things that are relevant for you, the viewer, to watch. In this next part, I'm going to talk about my spiritual awakening journey as it relates to this life here, my life. During my late teenage years, I began to question reality. Actually, one of the first things that made me think about life was watching Joe Rogan and listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. The way he spoke, I could very easily tell that he had his third eye open, or he was able to perceive that type of reality. And how he spoke really resonated to me. And I began to question school and how things are structured and everything as it relates to that. This led me to watch dozens of YouTube videos on the spiritual sciences, like how to open your third eye. I watched videos by Teal Swan, by Infinite Waters, Ralph Smart, by various Indian teachers. And eventually this led me to visit the Vipassana 10-day meditation retreat, which was one of the best things that I've ever done in my life. And I owe a great deal of gratitude towards that place. During that 10-day meditation retreat, I realized that I have a natural propensity towards meditation. I could very easily enter into deep meditative states. And that 10-day meditation retreat showed me that this is like a medicine to cure all illnesses, mental illnesses. Again, when I say mental illnesses, not like I'm a schizophrenic or anything like that, or neither are you, but everyone is suffering from mental illness. If you don't have full control, mastery over your own mind, you are mentally ill. You have thoughts that are not yours. You have feelings that sprout out of nowhere, and essentially you're living in chaos as it relates to your own mind. So fortunately, that 10-day meditation retreat showed me that if I stay on this path, I will cure myself of all illnesses. I will purify my mind. And I knew that this is the work that I would continue on doing for the rest of my life. After that meditation retreat ended, I was so thirsty for the Buddha's knowledge that I was willing to travel halfway across the planet to study more about the Buddha's teachings. And I did. First, I went to a monastery in Ottawa, Canada. I stayed there for 10 days. I lived with monks. Then I went to a monastery in New Hampshire, which changed my life. And I will talk about the experience that I've had there, a deep meditative experience that totally changed my world. And later I went to Thunder Bay, Ontario, and lived in the forest, in the Canadian boreal forest with Buddhist monks as well, again. And I stayed there for 5 months. After that, I went to Thailand, to the International Forest Monastery, and Burma, to the Pa Pa Ok Forest Monastery. And I lived there for about 2 months consecutively, or in total. After that, I came back to Toronto. I lived a normal life. I tried to live a normal life. I realized that the path of renunciation was not for me. I was not going to renunciate my, my worldly possessions, and I was not going to become a monk. I knew that in this lifetime I'm not going to ordain as a monk. That was for sure, because at some deep down memory I had that I was living this way as a monk, as a renunciate. And this is not the path laid out for me in this life. For sure, that's not what I'm going to do. So I needed to find a different way, a different avenue. And luckily, this is me skipping a lot of years, I started watching Sadhguru again. And I had the great fortune, the great pleasure of attending his 2-day inner engineering course, which was live in Toronto. He came to Toronto, and that totally changed my life again. That was one of the best things that I've ever done too. And that's when I really saw that Sadhguru was who he says he was. And it gave me confirmation that that my goal is achievable. And I knew that this is the work that I was going to continue to do, or this is the person that I was going to continue to follow. After I saw Sadhguru, pretty much anything that he said I would follow, I would do. It wouldn't matter, because I saw that he's an authority on this topic, and you should listen to authority figures. So from then on, I continuously watched videos by Sadhguru every day for 8 hours a day for weeks, maybe even months. And I would watch the same videos over and over again because I was thirsty for this energy. And watching his videos, I could understand more about his perspective if I just continued to replay the same videos over and over again. And then it wasn't until the pandemic hit. When the pandemic hit, I really started paying attention to what Sadhguru had to offer, because he has the results that I want. And during the pandemic, I did something very extreme, which I will talk about in the future. Extreme as it relates to a visionary experience that is brought about by consuming something, a substance. I did this thing, and that shattered my personality. The thing about spirituality and enlightenment in general is that the less of who you are, the better. So it's not about building something, it's not about creating an identity or building a personality. It's actually the complete opposite of that. It's stripping away, it's letting go, it is dissolving yourself. When you fully dissolve yourself, well, only the universe remains. And so this brings us to the present moment, where I am here in Australia, living in Sydney currently, soon to be in Cairns, which is the northern part of Australia. And I'm continuing doing the work that I'm doing here. After my near-death experience just a few days ago, this made me realize that it's very important for me to live past 32 years old. I'm 27 now. It would be a real tragedy for me to pass away before I reach 32. After 32, I'm okay with dying, in an accident or otherwise. But now it's very important for me to hold on to my body and not be foolish and do things that I need to do to keep my body alive, which I will do. That is my promise to you. Hopefully I won't die before 32 years of age. And on a similar note, Sadhguru says that this is the first time that I've heard this knowledge, that anyone that lives past 84 years, or someone that is 84 years of age, they have fully ripened as a human being. And no matter how lousy they were living their life, if they did immoral things, a certain bond with the planet Earth is undone, is untied, and they cannot be born, at least not easily, into the human form again. They can be dissolved very effortlessly if someone is paying attention to them after they pass away. So keep that in mind, that 84 years of age is when you fully ripen as a human being.